With most endeavors, the time leading up directly to the opportunity to perform is the time that you want to feel the most confident. It's the time when you usually feel the most prepared, and when all of that work you've done just naturally feels like you're ready to go. And in powerlifting, it is often the exact opposite of that. The more prepared you get, the harder you work in your training, the better your programming, the more development you've really achieved in the preparation phase, the more beat up you're going to feel right before the event. And I'm not talking about like the day before. I'm talking, the week leading up to it, or a few weeks leading up to it, where you're in this overreached stage, where all your fatigue, all of the work that you've been putting in has overwhelmed your ability to recover within the same time parameters that you're used to, and your ability to express your fitness and your actual preparation is just overwhelmed by those fatigue factors. And it's the state of being overreached. You have aggressively pursued some sort of progression and improvement that your body needs some extra time to dump that fatigue and be able to exhibit all of that progress with a supercompensation. And that is really mentally challenging for a lot of people who are not used to that as being the way that progress is structured. Most people say, oh, I'm feeling better, I've never felt stronger, I've never felt better than this. That's what the day of the meet is going to feel like. But first you have to put in a little bit of suffer time where you've pushed as hard as you can and you've built up that opportunity for that supercompensation. You have built up that opportunity to grow. Just because of the way that adaptation to a stimulus works, you have to overwhelm your body's ability to cope immediately in order to create the space for it to show an improvement. If you are constantly underworking the body's recovery system and you're constantly not pushing that, then you never get better. And it's one of the most rewarding feelings. It's also the scariest thing ever. When you're going up into a meet or you're going up into some form of the end of a training block and you don't feel ready because you can't exhibit that strength the way that you'd like to. And it really does take just a lot of trust in your programming, trust in the method, and trust in the work that you've put in beforehand. This is where you really get to exhibit your faith in what you're doing. And it is probably the hardest part for newer lifters or people that haven't gone through it very often, and a lot of experienced lifters too will go through a little bit of a panic mode, saying that this is not, where I would like to feel the most ready. I don't feel like I'm exactly where I want to be, and the meet's next weekend. And in my case, I kind of had to rush the overreaching. I had started my volume block, found out about the meet, and then had pretty much 2 sessions to kind of force all of this adaptation, overreach, sort of this little mini cycle of body progression, and just try to get to the point where hopefully everything's going to work out. And I'm trusting the preparation I've done. I'm trusting my experience in feeling this way, that I've done the right things, and this session was Monday night, and that I would kind of give all the work that I needed to force that final bit of overreach, so that the rest that I'll be taking the rest of the week will be effective enough to really show all the progress that I've made in the weeks leading up to this, even if I didn't know that they were necessarily the weeks leading up to this. So the session wasn't anything phenomenal. The 380 bench was actually a grip PR with a new grip, pinkies around the rings, so that was kind of the diamond in the rough of an otherwise unimpressive session. I did drop some of my volume on the squats to try to up the intensity a little bit and give my body something to recover from that's easier to recover from. Volume is generally more taxing on your body than a little bit of extra intensity, so I switched those 2 variables around, and the same thing happened in the past when I've kind of been in similar situations, and it tends to work. So now's the time to trust in the process and trust in the work I've done, and hopefully everything will turn out for the best. So thank you guys for watching. I don't plan on having another training video up before the meet, but I might have some other fun stuff on the channel, so be sure to come by and check that out, and I will talk to you all soon and let you know how everything goes. Have a great night. Bye.